A very good morning to one and all. I, Ruby Gill, welcome all the attendees and our prestigious speakers for on the behalf of lovely professional university for today's webinar on the topic No More Aches and Pains, Physiotherapy, Medical Lab Sciences at LPU. So today you'll savor a feast of knowledge from our revered speakers. So allow me to introduce them. Dr. Monica Gulati, Executive Dean, School of Pharmaceutical Sciences and Registrar, Lovely Professional University. She has been very instrumental in research when it comes to education. Having completed her B Pharmacy, M Pharmacy and PhD from UIPS Punjab University, Chandigarh, Dr. Gulati has more than 25 years of teaching, industry, research and administrative experience. Her research forte is enhancing bioperformance of drug molecules, phytochemicals, and probiotics, metabiotics, and other therapeutics using conventional and novel dosage from especially in the area of colon targeting. She holds a keen interest in the quality control parameters of delivery systems. She has, to her credit, more than 150 high-impact publications and 15 invited book chapters with the H index of 28 and RT score of 39.43. She has been granted 4 Indian patents and 3 Australian patents as well. She is on the editorial and review board of more than 25 journals. So thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us today. It's a privilege to have you on board. Furthermore, I would also like to welcome our admission expert, Dr. Tushinder Preet Kaur, Professor, Mittal School of Business and Coordinator of Sales, Division of Admissions, Lovely Professional University. Today, she'll give you an insight about fee, scholarship, eligibility, and infrastructure of the university, which I'm very sure will make you save a lot of money. So thank you so much, ma'am, for joining. With this, we'll begin our today's session. So over to you, Dr. Monica Gulati, for the content of the day.
Vita, could you give me the presenting rights again?
Just give me a moment.
Can you see my screen now?
Is visible now?
Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. So sorry for the glitch. Today we are here to talk about a very interesting topic, no more aches and pains. So when we say no more aches and pains, obviously, we are talking about the about any profession wherein, health is involved and wherein we are able to take care of the health of the patients. So today, rather than talking about the hardcore medical professions like MBBS or nursing, we are going to talk about those professions which have been, playing a very significant role till date, but staying behind the screen. So we are going to talk about the professions of physiotherapy and the profession of medical lab sciences, which have been instrumental in, the recovery of the curing of so many patients, but have somewhere been staying in the background till, of course, last 2 years when this COVID-19 pandemic happened. Suddenly, these two professions came into limelight because everybody was, willing either to uh, take a test, had to take a test. All of us, I think 90 to 95% of us had to take the RT-PCR test at one or the other time during these last 3 years, 2.5 years. And then most of us tried to change our uh, lifestyles in such a manner that, if with God's grace we have been saved till now, we should remain protected from the infection. So the two professions which play a very key role in both these aspects are the professions of physiotherapy and those of medical lab sciences. So I'll be introducing you to these two professions today, and then of course, talking about various courses which are available there, both UG and PG. So let's start. So first of all, we are going to talk about physiotherapy. Generally, whenever there is any kind of muscular pain, we, uh, apart from taking the medicine which will give an immediate cure, we generally resort to exercises. Now, who is the person or who is the professional who should be consulted for even resting? Many times I still remember when I was a child, whenever there used to be any injury or any pain, my grandmother used to tell me to go for a hot water bottle, and incidentally at times it would be cured and at times it would be aggravated. So now I understand that without the expert opinions, there are certain injuries which require the area to be cooled rather than heated. So expert opinion is very, very important, and the people who will provide you this expert opinion, they are the physiotherapists. So physiotherapy basically, if we talk of the profession as such, if you want to enter, you have to first undergo the course of Bachelor's in Physiotherapy, which is an 8 semester program, and total duration would be 4.5 years. Now you will be wondering, on one side I am saying it is 8 semester long, and on the other side I am saying it is 4.5 years. So the 4 years of active teaching, they are followed by 6 months of internship training, which is rotatory in nature. And then we also have the option of BPT lateral entry. If there are any audience who have completed their diplomas in physiotherapy, they can join the lateral entry, because we understand and we appreciate that anybody who's already completed the diploma has learned the basics of the profession. So rather than giving admission in the first year, we give admission in the second year. So the student starts with the second year of the Bachelor's of Physiotherapy, and practically the course duration then becomes 3.5 years, 6 semesters to be done. That means third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and then followed by the 6 months internship. Once the graduation is completed, we start with the post-graduation program, which is also known as MPT, Masters in Physiotherapy. So currently we are offering physiotherapy masters in 5 specializations, that is orthopedics, neurology, cardiopulmonary, sports, and pediatric. So one by one I'll take them up. So first let us talk about Bachelor of Physiotherapy. Now, Bachelor of Physiotherapy, initially we start with the theory and practical knowledge about the functioning of the human body, the structure, the function, the various pathologies that occur, and then slowly and slowly, while reaching the second year, we start imparting training about the various exercises or the various mobilizations or the various manipulations that can be done to improve the status per se when the individual is healthy, and if there are any injuries or if there are any pathologies, that means diseases, then how to cure them without any drugs. So the magic of physiotherapy lies in the fact that we are not giving any kind of drugs to the patient. And currently the Bachelor of Physiotherapy is uh, recognized by the Indian Association of Physiotherapists. As such, the regulatory body is not existent. Probably, in coming 6 months or a year, we'll have the regulatory body also. So currently there is an association which is known as the Indian Association of Physiotherapists. So this association prescribes a particular curriculum. So all the curricula of the bachelors as well as masters is designed according to the uh, curriculum recommended by IAP, and then we regularly have their visits also to ensure that all the recommendations are adhered to. Now, when we talk of, if you remember in the last slide, I told you that there is a compulsory rotatory internship training. So what I mean by compulsory rotatory internship training for 6 months. So you see, compulsory because without the completion of this training, you will not get the degree of physiotherapy. It is applicable worldwide. And rotatory means that you have to move from one to another department in a hospital. The departments will include orthopedics, neuro, cardio, pediatrics if these are there, or as you can see, rotatory will include if you have got training in these 4 specializations. For 2, you can shift to another hospital also. So the basic idea is that you should have an exposure to most of the specialities which you are going to handle after you are ready to treat the patients. So that is the reason we make the rotatory internship compulsory, so that you are able to treat all kinds of patients with all kinds of anomalies. Coming to the masters, as you can see, it is a postgraduate course, and the major difference in the teaching methodology between the bachelors and the masters is, first point, masters are much more clinically oriented. The patient exposure starts right from the semester 1. So you have learned the basics in your bachelors. In masters, you will learn the finer nuances or the specialization techniques to treat a particular kind of patient. Say for example, in ortho MPT, you will learn all the techniques to handle the muscular stresses, the orthopedic stresses. I mean, the if there are any kind of bone issues, any kind of muscle issue, any kind of ligament injuries, and then you will also be able to give an advice to the people who are in various kinds of professions, so that they do not develop any kind of ortho orthopedic conditions, in the sense that it will also encompass the preventive therapy. So we very often visit our children and our faculty. They visit various industries, they visit the rural areas to advise the people, so that in a particular industry there could be a repetitive kind of action. Say you are bending again and again, so they advise the people to take short breaks and do certain kinds of exercises for 2 minutes in those short breaks, so that they do not develop any kind of issues. Similarly, if you are sitting for long hours on computers, so the advisory would be issued to all such people, so that they can take a break after maybe 1 hour or half an hour for some time, and do certain kind of stretching or certain other exercises, so they do not develop any kind of physical issues. So the preventive as well as the curative measures both are taught. And coming back to various, just a moment. As the name suggests, and as I've already explained, when we talk of MPT ortho, it is generally related to muscles, ligaments, bone. When we talk of neuro, it is basically the kind of information which is taught to the children, the kind of knowledge which is imparted is basically related to the diseases which are concerned with the nervous system. This could include the diseases associated with the spinal cord or with the brain, or even with the the peripheral nervous system like nerves and other nerves. This would include, when we talk of children, the very common ailment for which the patients come to us is CP, cerebral palsy, and then there are neurological diseases like people would come for carpal tunnel syndrome, people would come for the elderly, people would reach out to us for Alzheimer, they would reach out to us for Parkinsonism. So such kind of diseases for which actually there is no cure in the even in the modern medicine, they are helped to a huge extent, to a large extent by the physiotherapy treatments. Then coming to the cardiopulmonary, again this would encompass both preventive as well as curative. So many patients with hypertension, with cardiac issues, with vascular issues, they come to us. Varicose veins is very common problem. And then the people who have undergone either the bypass surgery or stenting in the layman's language, once the surgery is done, before the surgery also and after the surgery also, some exercises or some manipulations are are given to the patient so that the recovery is complete. So once post surgery, we call it rehabilitation. So the patients are given rehabilitation by the physiotherapy so that the maximum advantage of the surgery is there and the patient does not develop any other condition. Talking about the MPT sports, I would very proudly like to share with you that the golden boy of Indian Olympics, Neeraj Chopra, he's the physiotherapist who was assisting him and who was guiding him throughout his journey to the Olympic gold medal, is our alumnus. So Ishan was there. Ishan is our alumnus. He was there with Neeraj Chopra all the time, and the the duo, that is Neeraj Chopra himself and his physiotherapist, both of them, they happen to be the alumni of LPU. Coming to the pediatric specialization in Masters of Physiotherapy, this specialization basically caters to all the children, all the problems related to the childhood, wherein the children are suffering from any problem. In such a case, the treatments which are administered to the younger patients, that means the children below the age of 12, they differ slightly than the treatments which are given to the older patients or the elderly patients. So we have an entire science related to the physiotherapy of problems associated with the pediatric patients. So that specialization is known as the pediatric specialization. So we have masters in physiotherapy in pediatrics. Now coming to the career prospects, as you would be able to see, and you might have already guessed also, the biggest possibility of finding a career option would be in hospitals. So all the hospitals where whether surgery is there or not, surgical specialization is there or not, they generally have a physiotherapy center or a physiotherapy unit wherein they hire physiotherapists for supporting all the patients who are visiting the OPDs and IPDs of various other departments. So the advantage of the physiotherapy unit is, if the patient would otherwise get a benefit of say 70% cure, if the physiotherapy treatment is there and it supports the treatment, the medical treatment, the curing could be increased maybe from 70 to 90 or 95%, because it is a very, very supportive kind of therapy. And then of course, you can enter into universities and colleges also, especially the sports colleges, wherein, wherever physical education and sports are there in the universities and colleges, they need to hire the physiotherapists. As I was sharing with you regarding Neeraj Chopra, all the players, all the sports people, all the athletes, they require support and they require advice from the physiotherapists to improve their skill set. So universities and colleges is another option. Another thing, of course, when we talk of university and colleges is that you can become a teacher like me. If there is a physiotherapy department, you can teach also. Then we will talk about a very different kind of career opportunity, which will not just, give you a job, but will also give you a social stature in the society and mental satisfaction also. That is the job in the special schools. Now let me share with you that special schools are those schools which cater to the special children. The pupils there or the students there are the children who are having special abilities. So you see uh, all the children with any kind of physical or even psychological disabilities, they would go to the special schools, and there it is a mandatory requirement to hire the physiotherapists. And as long as the school is open, during the school timings throughout the day, the physiotherapist has to stay in the the physiotherapist has to stay with the children. Another prerogative of the people who are teaching or who are employed in these schools is to also advise the faculty there, to advise the teachers and the faculty members and the staff there, so that they are sensitized to the needs of the special children and they are able to impart the maximum knowledge. So they change their pedagogy, they change their way of teaching also based on the advice given by the physiotherapist to handle to get the maximum out of the specially able children. Talking of the sports industry, you might be wondering what would a physiotherapist do in the sports industry. Now, when sports industry, in the sports industry, the sports goods are manufactured, they need to be standardized, and they need to be standardized in such a manner that they give the best edge or the maximum advantage of to the user. So if there is a badminton racket, or there is a bat, a cricket bat, or there is a tennis racket, or there is a hockey, the way it is designed, of course, there are certain design parameters which are mandatory. Apart from that, the way it is designed, if it gives a support or gives an advantage to the user, of course the user is going to perform better. So generally the sports industry, and you might be knowing already that Jalandhar is a hub of sports industry. So a large number of sports goods are manufactured in Jalandhar. So the sports industries generally employ a few physiotherapists who can advise them on the designing and manufacture of the sports goods. Then we already talked about the rehabilitation part. So the rehabilitation centers, wherein the patients who have either undergone surgery or they have undergone medical treatment, they are recuperating, they are coming back to their original health status. So rehabilitation centers are run by the physiotherapists. They may or they may not be a part of the hospital. So independent rehabilitation centers are also there. So in the rehabilitation centers, the main focus is to help the patient reach back to his or her normal lifestyle, and for that a number of physiotherapists are employed. Then talking of the government sector, time to time, because of the current requirement in the hospitals regarding the physiotherapists, so government time to time keeps on advertising the post for physiotherapists. Even in police force, all the forces, even in CRPF and other police forces, physiotherapists are required. So such kind of posts for teaching, for hospitals, for clinical setups, for sports persons, for forces, physiotherapists are required, and the government sectors, all these sectors, they keep on advertising the posts for such requirements. Then apart from, the hospitals, we have standalone kind of physiotherapy clinics also, wherein the doctors who do not have their own physiotherapy setup, or who have very basic kind of physiotherapy setup, they send the patients for only for physiotherapy. So physiotherapy clinics have recently become very popular, because now the people are becoming, more aware that many of the drugs are not good for the body systems in the long run. So the physiotherapy clinics have opened, and they also offer jobs to the physiotherapists. And then, of course, you can start your own physiotherapy clinics, which would fall under the private practice. Apart from opening your clinics, you can go for home service also. So there are certain geriatric patients or specially able patients, with who cannot move. It is very difficult, to take them from home to the hospital settings or clinical settings. So for such patients, the family or the caretakers, they generally, prefer that the physiotherapist comes and treats the patient there. So home visits is another part of the private practice, apart from, starting your own clinic. Fitness industry has recently, in last 5 years, I would say, has recently emerged as a very big sector for the recruitment of physiotherapists, because suddenly you might have observed that a number of gyms and spas, they have sprung up. The number of gyms has in fact multiplied, especially after COVID. During COVID, of course, most of the gyms were shut down. But after the COVID, most of us realized that, it is better to keep the diseases away. So all of us have started somewhere, practicing fitness exercises. So fitness industry has suddenly boomed, and they have realized after a few mishaps in last 1 to 2 years. One was very recent, when a film star, a movie star, while gymming, who had been gymming constantly, was it supposed to be in very good shape, unfortunately expired. So it was then realized by the fitness industry also, the gyms also, that some all the exercises should be done. All the exercises should be done under some professional expertise. So fitness industry has also started employing physiotherapists now. Then we'll talk about various opportunities in the corporate sector. When we talk of corporate sector, apart from the sports good manufacturing and maybe some orthotics, another corporate sector which is coming up, which has been existing but is again booming now, is that of, wherein uh, the doctors in the West are not employing the services of their own people, but have started looking towards Asia, particularly India, to support them. Now, what happens here is that the doctor or the expert sits in, say, US or in Canada or in Australia or in New Zealand or some place in Europe, and is, counseling the patient. The notes are not being taken by uh, his or her assistant there, but are being taken by the people who are sitting in India, maybe at Chennai or Delhi or Jalandhar or Phagwara, through the online mode. So the notes are taken by the professional here, and then after the visit to the doctor, the patient is put across in touch with uh, the professional who is sitting here through the online mode, and the counseling is done by the professional who is here. The notes are taken by him or her. The counseling is done from here, And finally, even the follow-ups are done by them after a particular experience. The advantage, of course, is that you get a huge exposure to the Western health system. Eventually, if you strike a good chord, you are able to perform well. You can migrate there also. If your doctor depends so much on you, you are paid in dollars or euros, and then you are able to create a place for yourself in that particular sector, and then you can, going abroad is becomes much easier as compared to that without any such kind of exposure. Then research in all the health sectors, inclusive of physiotherapy, is very, very interesting, and it is very significant to the further progress of the profession. So there are many research institutes also which would take PhDs from the physiotherapy. For example, there are central units of tuberculosis, central units of polio, and so on. So research centers are there which would like you to conduct research in the physiotherapy area to improve the patient, treatment outcome. So research is another possibility as far as the career options are concerned. So these are the hospitals wherein the clinical training is imparted to our children. As you can see, we have orthopedic hospitals, we have multi-speciality hospitals, we have cardiac centers, we have trauma centers, right? We have, this is inclusive of, neuro and ortho both. Then maternity homes also, and multi-speciality hospitals. Satyam is a hospital which handles trauma and neurological diseases. So you can see that, we are collaborating with all kinds of hospitals so that you get you get an exposure to all specializations. And by the time you are ready to treat the patients, you are very well aware regarding the treatments, the specialized treatments in all kinds of specialties. Apart from these, hospitals which I showed you, another very advantageous thing with physiotherapy career at LPU is we have 3 of our own OPDs. One OPD is right here in the university campus. So the patients from the surrounding area, they come here. Our sports children, they come here. All the students, who are staying in the hostel, whenever they get any kind of issues. Another advantage of this physiotherapy clinic is, almost throughout the year, some sports events are going on in the university campus, and the players keep on visiting us from across the country, from across the world. So whenever they also need any support, the athletes are brought to the physiotherapy clinic of inside the campus. So the exposure to the students is immense in terms of the patient footfall. Then we have another state-of-the-art physiotherapy clinic in the Jalandhar city. As you can see the picture. So a large number of patients with varying conditions, they visit the physiotherapy clinic at Jalandhar, and then we have another physiotherapy clinic at Pakwada, which has been there for the last more than 16 years now. So all these 3 physiotherapy clinics which belong to LPU, there also our children get regular exposure to the patients. Then talking about the research and innovation in the physiotherapy profession, as far as LPU is concerned, we have applied for a patent, and we are looking forward to transferring the technology to one of the companies in orthotics, wherein the students and the faculty team, they found out a way to assess the symmetry in the limb lobe. So generally, you see when you wear your shoes, you would see the left or the right shoe gets worn out more quickly than the other one. The reason is that most of us, we do not balance our gait and there is an asymmetry in the lower limbs. So to find out that and to rectify that, a device has been prepared by the students and faculty of physiotherapy department of LPU, and it has been patented, and it is now going to be tech transfer is now going to happen. It will be transferred to a company which is already dealing with orthotics. Then apart from that, we have international collaborations wherein our children they do get exposure to the outside world also. So we have collaboration with Teesside University. This is an Asian university. This is in Indonesia and so on. Then this is something very interesting I would like to share with you. Last year, the faculty of physiotherapy, they bagged a project of around 9 crores along with other countries which included Spain, which included Portugal, then Cyprus, and then Sri Lanka and Indonesia. So as you can see, these are the partner countries with whom and the LPU is in the capacity of the leader here. So sorry, we have signed MOUs with them also, and there has been a constant input from all these universities also, all these institutes also, as far as the project is concerned. Then coming to the other possibility of treating the aches and the pains lies in the medical laboratory sciences career. As far as the medical laboratory sciences or medical laboratory technology is concerned, we are more focused on the diagnostics rather than on the treatment. So we have diagnostics which are being handled by the medical lab technology, and we have the treatment part which is being handled by the physiotherapy. So as far as the diagnostic science is concerned, the graduation part is the graduation course, that is MS, BSc, MLT, is of 3 years, while the various masters in sciences are of 2 years. So here also in both the cases we have internship, but in this case the internship is a part of the 3 years or the 2 years program. So again, just like physiotherapy, we have the option of lateral entry in BSc MLT also. So the children who have completed their diplomas in MLT, they generally join in the second year, and for them the entire period it shortens to 2 years. Now BSc MLT basically teaches the students about the various diagnostic techniques, and for learning those diagnostic techniques, the child must be very well aware of the changes that happen in the body in terms of the biochemical changes or in terms of the microbiological changes. Then he or she must learn the techniques of blood sampling, and then looking at the samples of the blood, looking at the samples of the sputum and other body fluids or other body tissues. So they are taught with the subjects like microbiology, like biochemistry, like hematology. Hematology is the science of blood, even blood banking, then how to take out the tissues, how to fix the tissues, how to look at the tissue, from the inside the microscope to find out whether the structure is normal or it has deteriorated because of the disease or something. So the subjects in all the subjects will finally focus on one thing, that is the diagnostics of the diseases. Then talking about the career options, here the career options would differ from those for the physiotherapy, since this is more focused on diagnostics. So the first and the most important career option is diagnostic labs, which may exist in the hospitals or in the clinics and so on. Like physiotherapy graduates, the profession of medical transcription and medical coding, which I discussed with you, earlier also, that is open to medical lab sciences graduates and postgraduates also, because what they basically need is the person who has sufficient knowledge about the medical terms, who understands the functioning of the body well. So all the graduates of either medical lab technology or physiotherapy or pharmacists, they are well versed with the functioning and malfunctioning of the body. Therefore, all these can be taken up by the professions of medical transcription and medical coding. Then they can become clinical scientists or medical lab scientific officers also, in private as well as in government sector, wherein the role is more of supervisory nature. Then apart from that, as I shared with you earlier also, there are certain issues like malaria or typhoid or even dengue. Now we have COVID also. So there are certain diseases about which the national government or the state governments are very, very highly concerned. Say, for example, the way we were able to eradicate smallpox from the world, we were able to eradicate polio from the country. We aim to eradicate many more diseases like malaria and so on. So the government of India has focused specifically and created certain labs which deal with the diagnosis and treatment of such diseases, and these are known as the public health labs. So after the graduation and post graduation, most of the students, they may find a very good career option in the public health labs. Then the kits are available, the diagnostic kits are available, and wherein we just put the sample and we perform the test. So the diagnostic kits for sugar, for typhoid, typhi, paratyphi, for ESR and everything. So these diagnostic kits manufacturers, they also employ technically qualified people. So therefore they will require the people who have done their medical lab sciences. Then similarly, apart from kits are smaller kind of things. We have huge instruments which are used, biomedical instruments which are used to conduct these diagnostic tests. So these biomedical instrumentation companies also employ the graduates and the postgraduates. Apart from that, you will also find application in various pharma, nutra and cosmetics industry. Now you might be wondering why so, because all these three industries, since they are dealing with the health of the population, they must ensure that absolute cleanliness in terms of any kind of infection possibility or any kind of toxicity possibility should not be there. So they also generally employ one medical lab technologist, so that whatever products that are prepared in pharma, nutra or cosmeceutical industry, they are safe and fit for the human use. And then of course you can go on to on the higher degrees. The bachelor people can go for master's degrees, and master people can go for PhD degrees and so on. Then talking about the specialization courses in clinical microbiology, clinical biochemistry and clinical embryology. Now, as far as clinical microbiology is concerned, we are mainly bothered about teaching the techniques of detection, eradication, and taking care of any effects of the microorganisms or harms by the microorganisms that have been done to the human body. Now the microorganisms will include, of course, bacteria and viruses, but apart from that, they will also include the fungi, the various parasites, the helminths, and so on. So all the pathogenic substances or pathogenic microorganisms are there. All aspects are taught to the students, and then we teach them how to find out, the concentration of the drugs which would be useful for these kinds of infections, how to find out whether this would be useful or not. So quality control, susceptibility testing, everything is taught to the students even at the UG level, but in much more detail at the PG level. Now there is a 6 months internship in the last semester. So the career prospects would remain more or less the same. Only thing is you will be getting more salary, higher slab, because you've done your post graduation. Regarding MSc clinical biochemistry, so this is more associated with the lifestyle diseases. MSc clinical microbiology is more associated with the infectious diseases, while clinical biochemistry is more associated with the non-infectious diseases. So in this, based on the biochemical parameters of various diseases, the tests have been created. So the graduate or the postgraduate should know how to perform the test, how to interpret the test also. You should be able to give a clear picture as to whether this report is normal or not normal. Again, like MSc in clinical microbiology, here also we have 6 months internship, which is included in the total 2 years duration. So career prospects remain the same. These are the hospitals which are associated for internships with the MLT department of LPU. So you can see all the big names are there. We have association with Medanta, CMC, Ludhiana, Columbia Asia, Delhi, Pune, and Patiala also now. BLK Hospital Delhi, but we generally we get a preferential treatment at other BLK hospitals also. Then we have diagnostic centers and so on. Moving on, I would like to proudly present the COVID warriors from the Department of Medical Lab Sciences as well as Physiotherapy, who very actively and very dynamically helped in treating the COVID patients during the very difficult times. And more proudly, I would like to share with you that none of our children, alumni, or students caught infection during their stint with the COVID patients, because I take pride in this, that the way they are handled or the way they are taught, to handle the patients and handle the infectious diseases, they took care of themselves and they were safe enough. So none of them caught the infection from there. Then last year we started with a very different kind of program of MSc clinical embryology on huge public demand. Now herein we teach the techniques of in vitro fertilization also, wherein the couples who are not able to conceive, or the people who are generally when their offsprings are born, they are born with some genetic diseases. So these kind of techniques, which are very very highly specialized as well as sophisticated, they are taught to the patients, so this to the students. And MSc clinical embryology, we take any student who has completed his bachelor's with some exposure to the biological sciences. So anyone who has exposure to biological sciences can join here, but not the people who are from PCM kind of specialization or engineering background. Maybe BTech, biotech is all right, but only the people who have some exposure to the biology part. So for this, we have an association with Cooper Surgical, the world renowned and in fact the only company that supplies the media, that supplies the consumables, and that supplies the equipment to all the IVF centers throughout the world. So with this program is being run in association or in collaboration with these people. And for this, the career prospects are not the same, they are different. So they can be employed as embryologists. And recently, a bill has come which is likely to be passed, I think maybe has already been passed, wherein, it is mandatory for all the IVF centers or hospitals which are engaged in this kind of practice to hire qualified practitioners. Qualified means those who possess a degree, and there are not many institutes in India hardly a few you can count on your fingers who give this kind of degree. So this is a highly sought after course at LPU. Then you can go for independent freelancing. You know, you can move from one hospital to other hospital or one IVF center to another IVF center. Sales and marketing, of course, is another option because you know the kind of job role they have of convincing and creating the trust in the patients is very important. So sales and marketing also becomes a very technical kind of part. Then they can train the other students also, or they can train the other embryologists also. They can come into teaching. They can enter the profession of teaching, and then of course you know research and development is always available in all medical professions. So with this, you know, my from my side it is over. So I'll be happy to answer any questions if there are.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your vision, and it was such an informative and engaging session. And ma'am, we have few queries from the students. Can we take up those queries?
Please.
All right. So, ma'am, a student wants to know the scope of MSc Clinical Embryology. What is the scope of this in if we talk about the placement section?
See, as far as the clinical embryology course is concerned, I see there is a lot of interest. Even, you know, recently we have enrolled a few people who have completed their degrees in medicine. Also, we have MBBS and BAMS students also. So, in clinical embryology, you know, recently you might have seen there are a number of IVF centers. Whenever you know you, even in the rural area, you will find some advertisements showing that you know there are some IVF centers. After every, I think after every 15 to 20 kilometers, you will find an IVF center. The reason being that, you know, because of our lifestyle and so on, the problem of, infertility, or you can say partial problem of infertility is there. The couples are not able to conceive in time, and then there has been certain increase in the genetic diseases also. So for such kind of centers, you know, there is a huge requirement of IVF specialists who are expert in, who can handle the embryology part. Now, embryology part, as you will be able to visualize, is a very sensitive kind of science and requires a lot of training. Till now, what was happening was there was no structured course available almost across India. There were 4 or 5 institutes only. So the training was mostly by practice. So what was happening? The number of people who were having this kind of expertise was very low, very less number of people. So they would, you know, move from one center to the other, and at times from one city to the other also, and would be able to devote very less time, which may eventually lead to certain problems. So now it came to us through certain industries and through our own students also. The feedback came that there is an urgent requirement for such people who are trained in this. So the people who get trained in clinical embryology will find a large number of jobs which are lying vacant with most of the IVF centers or centers which indulge in genetic counseling of the parents.
Thank you so
So
much,
there is
ma'am.
no doubt, and you know a large number of qualified people who are either even in, you know, the lady doctors who are already into the practice of gynecology, they are also approaching us and they are also taking admission in the course.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for resolving the queries. So, ma'am, there is another very interesting query from Shushma. She wants to know that as you were discussing about that Neeraj Chopra is having a physiotherapist that was from our university, and Neeraj Chopra is also from our university. So, do there any kind of opportunities emerged after that? Can we get to be a part of any team of any celebrity as a physiotherapist?
Surely, surely, I'll share with you, even in the Indian boxing team, our alumni are there. And now also the sports are going on. So once the students, they get such a wide exposure to the sports people, to the athletes in the campus, there is always a possibility of being picked up. The talented people, they might get picked up at that point only. And then, of course, you can land up there. The two physiotherapists, in fact, with the Indian national boxing team, they were from LPU only. So there are ample opportunities to be picked up by the good athletes.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So last but not the least, ma'am, the question is from Azan. He wants to know that this pandemic situation, does this pandemic situation will affect further for this course also? Like if we opt for this course at LPU, will pandemic affect the placement?
See, you may call it fortunate or you may call it unfortunate, but after the pandemic, the job market for the allied health sciences has increased tremendously, because suddenly, you might have seen there were many people who did not catch the infection despite the exposure. So somewhere we have all realized that, we have to work on ourselves. Our immunity matters a lot. And obesity was one reason because of which, many patients, they lost their lives. So suddenly the focus has shifted on health from, money. So as the requirement for fitness increases, the requirement for the people who are able to support you with fitness also increases. So the job opportunities for the people in the health sector, they have not increased, they have multiplied actually. So there has been a logarithmic increase in the need for health professionals. And of course, after you complete your bachelor's or master's in any of these courses, you will immediately be absorbed, especially in the post-COVID scenario.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for resolving all the queries of our attendees. Now, we'll quickly move on to our admission expert, Dr. Tashinder Preet Kaur. Ma'am, please, over to you for the admission part of our university.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ruby. I hope I am audible and my screen is visible. All right, very good afternoon to each one of you guys. Hope you all are fine and safe. So I'm going to speak about the rankings, the campus life, infrastructure. Last but not the least, I'll tell you the way how to save your money. So to start with, it gives me immense pleasure to share that 13 students of lovely professional university represented India in Tokyo Olympics 2020, and they brought laurels by winning gold, silver, and bronze medals. The story doesn't end here. And again, matter of pride to share that the university lifts runner-up trophy at Khelo India University Games, wherein the team won 51 medals to highlight 17 gold, 15 silver, and 19 bronze medals they were won by the team. Now, moving on to the rankings, the university has been ranked 74th globally by Times Higher Education Impact Ranking 2022. Uh, in addition to this, the university has been ranked 36th among the top universities of India. Yeah, it also gives me the immense pleasure to share this information. The university has been ranked third in Atal ranking of institution on innovations as well as the achievement. And the School of Pharmacy is also having the 23rd rank by NIRF. Now, I'm going to speak about the campus life and the exposure which we provide to our candidates, to our students. University proudly hosted 106th Indian Science Congress, which was inaugurated by Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, wherein he gave the slogan as Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, Jai Vigyan, Jai Anusandhan. Nobel laureate for peace and the great spiritual of leader of Dalai Lama ji graced the convocation at LPU. This is a glimpse wherein you can see the presidents of two countries, one of Afghanistan and another of India, gracing the convocation of India. We do invite your entrepreneurial ideas. We have a special division for the startup. We are welcoming your entrepreneurial inputs. So this particular school was inaugurated by Shri Arun Jaitley ji. You are very much familiar about this face. He is world-renowned life coach Gaur Gopal Das, who interacted with the student and he told them ways how to lead a balanced life. So apart from the great leaders, the university has welcomed the celebrities as well, the glimpse of which is very much in front of you, Shah Rukh Khan and Deepika Padukone, who visited the university and interacted with the student. This face is also not new to you. He's none other than the former captain of Indian team, Mahendra Singh Dhoni. He visited and interacted with the students. Now I'm going to speak about the university's infrastructure. Let me be very clear to you. University's infrastructure is one of the largest infrastructure. To start with, the university is having 2 amphitheaters which are used to organize the cultural events, nukkad nataks, etc. This is the glimpse of one of the auditorium. Otherwise, university has 3 auditoriums. This is one of the glimpse wherein you can visualize the Shanti Devi Mittal Auditorium with a seating capacity of 2,200 people. This auditorium is basically used to host the competitions, the events of national as well as the international repute. This is the heart and soul of lovely professional university. You will find every kind of a shop ranging from stationery to lovely sweets, all food stalls, everything would be there. So we do invite your ideas. We do have incubation centers and you are free to share your entrepreneurial inputs. This is a glimpse of the library. The university has 9-storied central library with more than 20 lakh books. We have softwares, we have databases, you have research idea into your mind, you have something into your mind, we have all the ready softwares and solutions for the same. So just to bring you out of the academic monotony, we have a bowling area, we have a gym for those who are interested to stay fit. It is advisable to all to remain fit, but yes, those who are a little more oriented towards the gym care facilities, we do have all those options. World-class facilities are there, gym is there, specialized trainers are there for you. So we do care about your health. We have medical facility, 24/7 medical facility is there, where expert doctors visit and they provide a solution. They provide the medicine which is required to you. Whatever solution you want to have, we provide at every point. So hospital beds are there. Now, we do have indoor stadium with multifarious facilities. Swimming pool is there, all-weather swimming pool is there. Then we have badminton courts, 12 badminton courts, 1 shooting range is there. And then apart from that, yoga room, aerobics room, all these facilities are provided in one such a big campus that is lovely professional university. So this is the day view of the university. This is the night view of the university in general and specifically for the residential facility. Now I'll take you to the university's website where I will be giving you the orientation regarding the fee structure, the scholarship and where you land. So you can note down the website. It is lpu.in. Just give me a second. Yeah. I also want to highlight that our Honorable Chancellor Sir has joined the Rajya Sabha just few days ago. It gives me immense pleasure to share this information. Now let's go to the program. So go to admissions. Depends upon whether you want to go ahead with undergraduate program or the postgraduate program. Click on the discipline in which you are interested. For example, it is the physiotherapy. After clicking on the physiotherapy, you will get the particular program which comes under the discipline of physiotherapy will be in front of you. By clicking on that, you will be able to see the duration. Then you will be able to see the eligibility, as it is clearly mentioned. It is 60% marks in 10+2, subject to qualifying universities exam, that is LPU NEST. It's entrance as well as the scholarship test. So two purposes are served with the single test. Already shared the ranking part of the school. Moving ahead, I know you might be little anxious to understand, to know what kind of subjects will be taught to you. You can also have a glimpse of the same on the website. Moving ahead, you can see the fee structure with the scholarship slabs as well. We are floating 3 slabs from 28% to 48%. So depending upon what would be your score in 12th, you will be landing up in that scholarship. 12th on the basis of, we are floating it on the basis of 12th as well as on the basis of your performance in the exam, that is LPU NEST. So don't lose hope. If you are not getting, let's suppose the result is not out, you might not be getting 28 or 38, appear in the LPU NEST and then perform it in a better way and then fetch the chances of getting the better scholarship. Now, further scrolling it, I want to show you what kind of scholarships we are floating on the basis of the qualifying exam, on the basis of 12th score. I have already briefed you on the basis of universities exam NEST. We are having 3 cutoffs, category 3, 2, 1. So one line conclusion, better you perform, better will be the scholarship. Then on the basis of NEET as well. So the score is also mentioned over there. Then other scholarships are also there on the basis of scholarships, on the basis of innovation startup, sports cultural, toppers of school education. If you have any documentation with you, you are not aware whether you are getting some scholarship or not, you can mail, you can click a pic of that document and mail it at admissions@lpu.co.in. The program for which you are seeking, that whether you will be getting that scholarship or not. Last but not the least, we have the financial aid scholarship. So that financial aid is also provided to the students, like need-based is there, then paramilitary personnel and their dependents, to the orphans, to the certain disability, but it is having limited seats. So to conclude this thing, we have lot many options for your scholarship, but one best will be given to you. So moving ahead, I want to show how to start with the process. First of all, you need to sign up. Then you need to apply for the NEST exam, that is eligibility and the scholarship test. You need to book the exam. After appearing, you will be getting the result, and next step will be the admission. So no doubt the timelines are mentioned, but I always advise the candidates not to wait for the last day. Give your effort, plan your decision, and then fix your slot accordingly. Let's suppose you come across with some kind of a query and you want a solution on that, you want answer to your query. We are available for you. The WhatsApp number is this. You can note down that WhatsApp number. You click on this, you will be getting the answers to your queries. Then the LPU in your town is also there. You can see where it is available, right? Then if you want to schedule a call, just click on this, give your information, and then the call will be scheduled. I'll definitely advise you to go ahead with 360-degree view of the university to know about where the particular block is regarding the residential, the lush green gardens. Just explore the 360-degree view. I'm sure you are gonna enjoy that 360-degree view. In addition to this, we are available on the live video counseling. We understand it's not possible that you come and get your queries solved. We invite you to come and see the lush green campus. But in case you have some query into your mind, don't wait. Just click on the live video counseling. Our counselors are there who will be providing one-to-one interaction and will be providing solution to you. So this is all about on this particular page. I talked about the eligibility, I talked about the fee structure, I talked about the scholarship slab as well. I'll take a minute because you are spending time to look upon the webinars. If let's suppose you have missed some webinar, it's an advice. We have a webinar page wherein already held webinars are posted, and the schedule for the upcoming webinars is also there. So identify your interest and register yourself for the upcoming webinars. So upcoming webinars tab is different. You need to register it either by scanning QR code or by registering yourself. If you want to look, you might have missed some webinars, or you want to just scroll down that all as of now what webinars have taken place. YouTube recordings are available. So it is advisable to go through those YouTube recordings. So again, do a scan QR code, register for the webinar. Previous webinars, YouTube recording. And if some queries there into your mind, we are there. Click on any point, we will be in touch with you. So for more details, you can write down these details. You can get back to us, or your queries there. You can write to us at admissions@lpu.co.in. Our helpline number is 517-000-404404 with the landline of 0182. It's over from my side, Ms. Ruby.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such a detailed information. And attendees, good things come to people who wait, but better things come to those who go out and get them. So don't just sit back and relax. Grab the opportunity to take admission in your preferred program and get the early decision benefits. So thank you, everyone. This webinar was on No More Aches and Pains, Physiotherapy, Medical Lab Sciences at LPU. So thank you so much, experts. Your years of research, your depth of understanding the topic, and your ability to present the topic in such an interesting way produce one of the most wonderful afternoon for all the attendees. So on behalf of all the attendees of this webinar, I want to thank you for your insightful presentation. Hopefully, attendees found this webinar to be valuable and will able to utilize the information provided in this webinar to take better decisions regarding admissions. And attendees, thank you so much. I enjoyed bringing this session to you, and I hope you enjoyed listening to it as much. So until next time, I'm Ruby Gill, sign off.